I, Olivia, 32F, have been with my husband, Ethan 33M, for 5 years, and he is, without a doubt, the kindest, most supportive man I've ever known. Our relationship has always been a sanctuary for me, a place of peace and mutual respect. From the very beginning of my relationship with Ethan, his mother, Brenda, 58F, was cold, distant, and made it abundantly clear that I was not welcome, not truly accepted into their family. She rarely smiled at me, her compliments were backhanded, and she'd often make passive-aggressive comments about my background or my choices. Ethan tried to mediate, to smooth things over, but Brenda was relentless in her subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, disdain. However, Ethan's father, Arthur, 60M, was the complete opposite. He was a warm, jovial man who welcomed me with open arms. He treated me like his own daughter, always asking about my day, listening intently, and making me feel like a cherished member of the family. He was a beacon of light in an otherwise tense family dynamic. He was so excited about our future together. Before he passed away suddenly from a heart attack a year and a half ago, Arthur had a conversation with Ethan and me. He told us he had set aside a special fund for our wedding, a significant amount that would allow us to have the dream wedding we envisioned. He wanted us to have the best start possible. His passing was devastating for all of us, but especially for Ethan. It left a huge void. After Arthur's death, Brenda, surprisingly, assured us that Arthur's wishes regarding the wedding fund would be honored. "Your father-in-law was very clear," she said, her voice surprisingly calm for once. "The money is there for your wedding. Just let me know when you need it." We were relieved and grateful. We trusted her. We started planning our wedding, a beautiful, medium-sized affair at a charming vineyard. We booked the venue, secured a caterer, picked out flowers, and sent out invitations. We kept Brenda informed of our plans, sending her updates, inviting her to tastings and consultations, trying to include her, despite her usual frosty demeanor. She seemed placid. Almost too placid, in hindsight. 2 months before our wedding, chaos erupted in another part of Ethan's family. His sister, Chloe, 30F, Brenda's other child, was in distress. Her husband, Mark, 31M, had been arrested and charged with serious fraud. He was in jail, awaiting bail. Brenda was distraught. She called Ethan, sobbing. "Oh, Ethan. It's terrible. Mark is in jail. Chloe is beside herself. And he's going to miss the wedding. It would be absolutely awful for him to miss his sister-in-law's wedding." Ethan and I sympathized with Chloe's situation, but we were also firm. "Mom," Ethan said gently, "we're so sorry about Mark, but the wedding fund is for our wedding. We can't use it for bail." Brenda seemed to accept this, albeit reluctantly. We thought that was the end of it. A week later, I was chatting with Ethan's cousin, a distant relative who was also invited to the wedding. We were talking about wedding plans, and she casually mentioned, "Oh, I heard Mark is out on bail." "That's great, right? He'll be able to make it to the wedding after all." My blood ran cold. Out on bail? How? Mark's bail was set incredibly high, far more than Chloe or Brenda could afford. A sickening dread began to form in my stomach. There was only one source of that kind of money in the family, Arthur's wedding fund. I immediately called Ethan. "Ethan," I said, my voice barely a whisper, "Cousin Sarah just said Mark is out on bail. Do you think?" Ethan's voice went tight. "No. She wouldn't. She couldn't." We rushed to Brenda's house. We confronted her, our hearts pounding. "Brenda," Ethan began, "we just heard Mark is out on bail." "How did that happen?" Brenda's face went pale. She stammered, avoided eye contact, tried to deflect. "Oh, it's complicated. Family matters." "Did you use the wedding fund?" I asked directly, my voice firm. She snapped. "Yes. I did. What else was I supposed to do? He's family." Chloe was distraught. Arthur would have wanted all family members to be together at the wedding. He was going to miss his sister-in-law's wedding. My jaw dropped. She had done it. She had secretly taken the money Arthur had specifically set aside for our wedding, to bail out a man who was facing serious fraud charges, a man who wasn't even directly related to her by blood, just married to her daughter. "Brenda," I said, my voice trembling with hurt and anger, "that money was for our wedding. Arthur gave it to us. Not for Mark's bail. how could you do this? She scoffed, her eyes narrowing. Oh, don't be so dramatic, Olivia. It's just money. And family comes first. Mark is family. You're not even really family. You're just Ethan's wife. Arthur would have understood. He would have wanted all his family together. I'm not real family? I felt a sharp, searing pain. After 5 years, after all my efforts, after Arthur treated me like his own daughter, she still saw me as an outsider, a temporary fixture. You stole from us, Brenda. You stole from your own son. You betrayed Arthur's dying wish. The argument escalated into a furious shouting match. Brenda continued to justify her actions, prioritizing Mark's presence at our wedding over our actual wedding. Ethan, seeing the venom in his mother's eyes, the blatant disregard for our feelings, finally snapped. Mom, he roared, his voice shaking with a rage I rarely saw from him, you are unbelievable. You stole from us. You lied to us. You disrespected Dad's memory. We are done talking about this. He hung up the phone, leaving Brenda screaming on the other end. We stood there, devastated, betrayed, and utterly heartbroken. In the days following the confrontation, the harsh reality set in. The wedding fund was gone. All of it. We contacted our vendors, explaining the situation. We lost thousands in non-refundable deposits and incurred significant cancellation fees. Our dream wedding, the one Arthur had so lovingly provided for, was shattered. After much deliberation, many tears, and countless hours of discussion, Ethan and I made a painful decision: we would cancel our big wedding plans entirely. We simply couldn't afford it anymore, and the thought of having Brenda and Chloe involved, knowing what they had done, was unbearable. We knew it would only lead to more drama, more tension, more disrespect. We wanted our wedding day to be about us, about our love, not about their chaos. Instead, we opted for a small, private ceremony. A secret wedding. 2 weeks later, on what would have been our original wedding date, Ethan and I exchanged vows under the old oak tree in our backyard. We had a few close friends, my parents, and Ethan's supportive aunt and uncle there. My mom made a small cake. Our friend, a licensed officiant, performed a simple, heartfelt ceremony. It wasn't the lavish wedding we had envisioned. There were no fancy decorations, no grand entrance, no huge guest list. But as I stood there, looking into Ethan's eyes, surrounded by the people who truly loved and supported us, I realized it was perfect. More than perfect. It was intimate, honest, and filled with genuine love. It was ours. The simplicity of the day highlighted what truly mattered: our love for each other, and the commitment we were making. We were married. And Brenda had no idea. Our secret didn't last long. It was bound to get out. A few days after our backyard wedding, a well-meaning relative, who wasn't in on the secret, casually congratulated Brenda on Ethan and Olivia's beautiful wedding. The phone call started immediately. Brenda, then Chloe, bombarded us with furious messages. How dare you? Brenda shrieked over the phone. You got married without me? Without your own mother? After everything I've done for you? Chloe was equally enraged. Why wasn't I invited? You're my brother. This is a betrayal. You're trying to cut us out of your lives. We stood firm. You know why you weren't invited, Brenda, Ethan said, his voice calm. You stole our wedding fund. You disrespected Dad's memory. You called Olivia not family. We couldn't trust you. And Chloe, I added, you stood by and let your mother do it. You said nothing. You enabled her. We wanted our wedding day to be about love, not about your drama. They dismissed our feelings, claiming we were ungrateful and selfish. The confrontation ended with them threatening us, vowing to make us pay. We thought the worst was over. We were wrong. A week later, Ethan and I were coming home from grocery shopping. As we pulled into our driveway, Brenda and Chloe were waiting. They immediately rushed our car, blocking us from getting inside. We need to talk. Brenda demanded, her face contorted with rage. There's nothing to talk about, Ethan said, trying to stay calm. You need to leave. They refused. The confrontation quickly became physical. Brenda lunged at Ethan, trying to grab his arm. Chloe started shouting obscenities, trying to push past me to get into the house. They were both completely unhinged. I feared for our safety. I'm calling the police, I yelled, pulling out my phone. Go ahead, Brenda screamed, they'll see what a monster you are. I called 911. The dispatcher could hear the shouting and chaos. Within minutes, 2 police cruisers arrived. The officers quickly assessed the situation, separating Brenda and Chloe from us. They saw the aggression, the attempted assault, the trespassing. After taking our statements, and observing Brenda and Chloe's continued belligerence, the officers made their decision. Brenda and Chloe were arrested for assault and trespassing. Ethan and I looked at each other, stunned but resolute. We decided to press charges. And we immediately sought a restraining order against both of them. We couldn't live in fear. In the months following the incident, the legal process began. Brenda and Chloe were facing criminal charges. We secured a permanent restraining order against them, giving us peace of mind and legal protection. Ethan and I began seeing a therapist to process the trauma of these events. It was a lot to unpack: the betrayal, the public humiliation, the physical confrontation, the loss of family relationships. But we were doing it together, stronger than ever. Meanwhile, Mark, Chloe's husband, faced the consequences of his own actions. He was convicted of fraud and sentenced to prison. Chloe was left to deal with the fallout alone. We maintained strict no contact with Brenda and Chloe, prioritizing our own well-being and the peaceful life we were building. We may not have had the lavish wedding Arthur envisioned, but we had something far more precious: a true partnership, forged in fire, and a future free from toxic relationships. As we continue to navigate the aftermath, we remain committed to our love and the peaceful, honest life we are building together, a life that honors Arthur's true legacy of kindness and integrity.